Shedeur Sanders literally stays completely silent during recent interview. The rookie mouthed his responses to reporters' questions. Shedeur Sanders made headlines this week by not saying anything during a recent interview. Sanders' NFL team, the Cleveland Browns, made a quarterback change by demoting the starter, veteran Joe Flacco, and stated that the previous number 2 quarterback, Dillon Gabriel, a first-year player, will be taking over the duties as the starter for the upcoming game against the Minnesota Vikings, taking place in London. Sanders, being drafted after Gabriel, is the team's number 3 quarterback. The team is currently 1-3, and fans were getting antsy and vocal about the team making a quarterback change. With the switch, Sanders did not move up, as the coach, Kevin Stefanski, simply swapped the number 1 and number 2. Reporters wanted to hear Sanders' thoughts on the coach's move. Reporters asked the rookie about the starter change, and when he responded to several questions, he did so by mouthing his responses, leaving reporters baffled. No one knows or understands why Sanders conducted the interview that way, but, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, he did so in response to criticism from former New York Jets and Buffalo Bills head coach Rex Ryan, who had appeared on ESPN earlier this week. The analyst seemed a bit peeved at Sanders, and it showed when he made the following statement on the air. "We're all waiting to see Shedeur Sanders be the guy or Gabriel whatever," Ryan said on Monday. "Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks, and he runs his mouth like he's I can be a starting quarterback, with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now." The Cleveland Browns locker room has never lacked headlines, but few expected their rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders to create one by doing absolutely nothing. Literally, nothing. When Sanders walked into the post-practice media session earlier this week, cameras flashed, microphones clustered around him, and reporters braced for another dose of his trademark wit. Instead, Sanders sat down, leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms, and simply stayed silent. No opening statement. No answers. Not even a sigh. What unfolded over the next 10 minutes may go down as one of the strangest, most talked-about interviews in NFL rookie history. The silent statement. At first, the media thought Sanders was joking. Known for his playful personality and sometimes controversial theatrics, Sanders has never shied away from putting on a show. His father, Deion "Primetime" Sanders, made a career out of mastering both the game and the spotlight. Shedeur inherited that DNA, but he's also crafted his own unpredictable brand of stardom. But this wasn't the playful mime routine he'd pulled just a week earlier. This was different, more deliberate, more stubborn. Sanders sat there, meeting reporters' eyes one by one, almost daring them to interpret his silence. Reporters tried everything. "Are you frustrated with the quarterback competition?" Silence. "Is there tension between you and Dillon Gabriel?" Silence. "Do you feel the coaches are being fair to you?" Silence. He didn't even shake his head. Just a stone-faced, motionless Shedeur Sanders, breathing quietly as the questions piled up like waves crashing against an unmovable wall. The locker room reactions. Inside the Browns facility, teammates were split. Some saw Sanders' silence as a stroke of genius, a way to control the narrative by refusing to give the media fresh material to twist. "Man, I loved it," one defensive player whispered after practice. "He just stared at him. No clickbait, no soundbites. Just silence. That's power." Others weren't so sure. "Look, we all deal with pressure," said a veteran offensive lineman. "But being the quarterback means you lead with your voice. You don't get to hide. If he's silent with us in the huddle, then we're in trouble." That last point cut deep, because leadership has always been the shadow hanging over Shedeur's NFL journey. Talent. Undeniable. Pedigree. Legendary. Marketability. Off the charts. But could he rally a team of grown men, some of whom have been in the league longer than he's been alive? That's the question silence couldn't answer. A protest or a strategy? Theories swirled within minutes of the interview ending. Some believed it was a protest against how he's been portrayed in the media lately. Sanders has been at the center of endless debates. Is he too flashy? Is he too distracted? Is Dillon Gabriel actually winning the locker room over? Instead of fighting with words, Maybe he decided to starve the media of fuel. Others saw it as a strategy. "Look, his dad taught him how to own the spotlight," one NFL insider said. But sometimes the boldest move isn't talking, it's refusing to talk. That silence will play on every sports show. And you know what? Everyone's talking about Shedeur anyway. Then there were the skeptics, those who wondered if silence was just immaturity. Maybe Sanders was frustrated with practice. Maybe he was sulking. Maybe he wasn't ready to handle the daily grind of being the face of a franchise. The truth? Only Shedeur knows. Social media explodes. On X, Instagram, and TikTok, the silence went viral within minutes. Clips of Sanders' stone-faced stare were remixed with dramatic music, meme captions, and even movie quotes. Press conference sponsored by AirPods, total noise cancellation, one fan joked. Bro hit reporters with a silent treatment like it's middle school drama, another wrote. But among the jokes came deeper takes. Some fans applauded his discipline. "Better to say nothing than say something they'll twist," one Brown supporter posted. Others were uneasy. "Silence isn't leadership. We need a QB, not a mime." Even rival players chimed in. One AFC North defender tweeted, "Can't wait to sack him. Wonder if he'll stay silent then." The shadow of Deion. Every move Shedeur makes circles back to one figure, his father. Deion Sanders redefined how athletes deal with media, often using his charisma to dominate headlines. But Deion also knew how to flip the switch, balancing flash with substance. Some critics now wonder if Shedeur is leaning too heavily into theatrics, while forgetting the balance. Primetime gave the media a show, but he also gave his teammates everything on the field, one former NFL analyst noted. Shedeur better make sure his silence doesn't echo louder than his play. And yet, others see the move as pure Deion-like brilliance. "It's performance art," one fan declared. "The kid is trolling the entire NFL media machine. That's prime DNA right there." What comes next? The Browns' coaching staff hasn't publicly addressed the silent interview, but whispers suggest they weren't thrilled. For a team trying to build chemistry and focus, another media circus isn't ideal. But here's the twist: silence may actually benefit Sanders. For once, he didn't give critics a fresh soundbite to tear apart. He didn't stumble through rookie mistakes in front of a dozen microphones. He didn't fuel rival narratives. He left with nothing but questions hanging in the air, questions that now follow everyone else, not him. Still, silence can't last forever. At some point, he'll have to speak. He'll have to command the huddle, talk to his receivers.